Welcome back. Today I'm sharing how to make this super easy naked chocolate cake. It's made with 4 7-inch cake layers and 2 different chocolate fillings. So I'm starting off by adding a little bit of ganache onto my 10-inch grease-proof cake board just to help secure that first layer. I'm going to be piping just some dollops of my whipped chocolate buttercream all around the perimeter of the cake. I really love this frosting because it's super light and fluffy, but it still has a great taste. So it works really well on a cake like this, where a lot of times if you're making a naked cake, it's because you want it to be a bit lighter or you're not a huge fan of frosting. So this really is a great filling for this cake. As you can see, between my rounds of whipped chocolate buttercream, I'm adding in some chocolate ganache. And chocolate ganache is also a really great cake filling. It's a bit denser and less sweet than a traditional buttercream, so it pairs really nicely with that whipped chocolate buttercream and just takes this cake to the next level. So I'm creating this really fun pattern and I'm repeating it as I'm building my cake up. This cake is going to end up being pretty tall just because we're not smoothing out those dollops of frosting, so there's going to be a lot of height between each cake layer, as you can see. But that's kind of the look that we're after, and that's what makes it so pretty from a side angle. So once I had filled the entire cake, I topped it with my last cake layer, and I did press down just a bit to make sure that there wasn't a ton of air between each layer. I then used a Wilton 1M tip and some more of my whipped chocolate buttercream to pipe some really beautiful frosting dollops on top of this cake. I went all out on these and tried to make them pretty large to have kind of a dramatic look, and I then filled in the top of the cake with some chocolate ganache. Once I had spread that to the frosting swirls, I added some of these delicious sprinkles that we got in Amsterdam. They make the most amazing sprinkles that have actual cocoa in them, which is why they taste so good. So if you can ever get your hands on any of these, I highly recommend trying them. Next, I popped the cake into the freezer for about 5 minutes to allow my frosting swirls to firm up. I then used a little bit of chocolate ganache on top of the swirls, adding little bits between each groove in the frosting. This allows the ganache to kind of run down through the swirl and create such a beautiful and playful look. I love those chocolate sprinkles so much, I decided that this cake needed a finishing sprinkle of them. So I added some on top of each swirl just to give it a little bit more texture, and then our naked chocolate cake was complete. So as you guys can see, this is a super simple cake design. It really is great if you're just starting to bake or if you're not a big frosting fan. My one tip of advice is to be sure that you add simple syrup if you're ever making a naked cake. Your cake layers are going to be exposed to the air and they can dry out, and the simple syrup really helps counteract that. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. The recipe for this cake is up on Chelsweets.com, and I highly recommend it. So thanks so much for watching. Hopefully I'll see you guys again soon.